Today on Let's Talk Crimes, Frank is going to talk to us about expungements. So Frank, let us know about
Bad boys, what you want, what you want, what you gonna do when Sheriff John Brown come for you? Tell me what you wanna do, what you gonna do.
So Frank, let us know about expungements.
Expungement. Well, Happy New Year first. We made it to 2021. It was one heck of a year, 2020, and one tremendous start, as we all know what's happening in 2021. Expungement. Let's do this. It's not only expungement, it's expungements and seal of records.
Okay.
What happens is there's a great misconception that if you get arrested and the charges are either dismissed or the state takes no action, or you are acquitted, then you have no record. And I want to explain that. You have no record of conviction under a definition of the legal term conviction. But you do have a record. You get arrested, cases get dismissed. If you run your name in the computer, it will show you got arrested. And that's why in Florida, many states, they have a statute called the expungement and the seal statute. Let me tell you what it is. It expunges, it eliminates the record from the computer system. If you seal it, your name will continue appearing in the computer system, but it will have nothing to the right. So people will know that you have some contact with the system, but they will see nothing besides that. They cannot go to the courthouse and open the records because they're sealed. If it's expunged, they can't go to the courthouse and open the records either. But in addition to that, they won't even see your name when they run it. It's removed from public records.
Okay. And what kind of crimes could you get expunged?
There's a list of crimes that you cannot seal. It's a laundry list. I cannot repeat them. I can tell you that it's Florida Statute 943.0585. It's just to mention some of them. It's aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. It's some of the violent crimes.
And these are ones you can't get sealed.
You cannot seal, but you can expunge.
Okay.
And this is why. I'll tell you why in a minute. But remember, expungement only happens when the case is dismissed, the cases are dropped, as most people call it, and the state doesn't proceed. That means that nothing happens, so you should be able to expunge it. Seal is a little different. What are the charges that you can seal and not expunge? If it wasn't dismissed, but they gave you something called withhold adjudication. That means that the judge made a finding of guilt and they sentenced you to probation, and you technically don't have a conviction, but your record appears. If it's a withhold adjudication, you cannot expunge, but you can seal it. They actually physically go to the courthouse and they seal the records.
Right. And how many times can you do this? Can I do this 3 times, 4 times?
You can only seal or expunge one time, period. If you go into expunge and you have another record expunge or sealed, you can't do it. Let me emphasize what it really does, because if you haven't given it any thought, okay, so they sealed the record or they removed you from the computer. But what happens when I'm applying for employment and they ask me, have you been arrested? It gives you permission to lie. That's the way I define it. It practically allows you to deny that you were arrested. Because you were arrested. Whether the cases were dismissed or not, you were arrested. But the question, have you been arrested? You can answer no to it. Most employment applications will ask you, have you been convicted? But some will ask you, have you been arrested? And if your case was expunged or sealed, you are allowed to deny it.
Now the problem is, if it's sealed, it will still show your name, but it won't show a crime next to the right of it.
It'll show a name or number. There are different systems in different states, but normally a seal, somebody has a way of knowing that something happened, but they have no information on your conviction, on your record, not conviction, on your arrest, because it was sealed.
Yeah. And what about federal crimes? Can we get these expunged or sealed?
The federal system does not have an expungement statute. Remember, a statute is the written law the legislature writes where it gives permission to expunge. State of Florida has it. The federal government Congress has not enacted an expungement. So there is no expungement. Does that mean that there are no cases where a judge has expunged a case in the federal system? That's not what it means. There are very few cases that attorneys have gone into the federal system under another jurisdiction, not under the statute, and they've managed to get expungements. It's very limited. It's only happened a few times, but you can generally say for the purpose of this program that the federal system does not expunge cases.
And what are, just so the viewers could get an idea of what they could get expunged or sealed, what are some of the more common ones you've done?
A lot of people, everything gets expunged. Let's say the petty theft, misdemeanor petty theft.
Okay.
That's something that in most cities like ours, you get a lot of them.
Yeah. Especially young kids, they want to steal something small from Walgreens.
It's a misdemeanor, but you don't want it there, and they get expunged. A lot of cases, grand theft, somebody stole something from the employer. The case was no action, but now they have to say they were arrested.
Right.
A theft charge
with a grand theft charge on the record, which looks probably terrible.
It looks horrible. So those are the types of cases that you're going to get expunged, and people want to remove it. Let me explain something to you. It removes it from the public record. It doesn't remove it from every single government agency. There's another laundry list of government agencies which you have to disclose it to. When there's a list, I'd rather not say it in the program because I don't want to get it wrong. I don't have it in my mind, every single agency. But let's say there's between 5 and 10 agencies that whether you got expunged or not, you have to tell them.
Right, which makes sense for security reasons.
Absolutely, and Internal Revenue Services is one of them.
Now, I want to ask you, what's in the process of getting an expungement, just so the viewers kind of know what to do, maybe if this comes across their table.
It's a long process. As our cities get bigger, the process gets longer because there's more applications. In the state of Florida, the FDLE, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, is the one that decides if you're going to get an expungement. First thing you have to do is fill out an application. They have systems in each clerk's office where individuals should be able to go and do it on their own. Other individuals hire attorneys. You fill out an application. You send it to the state attorney's office first, to the court first. Court sends it to the state attorney's office. State attorney office either agrees or objects. After you do that, the individual has to go and get his fingerprints, certified copy of the records, send the records to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and sometimes it takes up to a year. Now with the situation that we're living all across the nation of COVID, it's taking more than a year. The FDLE decides that you can get expunged. What are they looking for? They're looking to see if you had another case expunged. Okay. They're looking to see if you're trying to expunge a charge that is in that laundry list that I told you about.
Right.
If you're okay, they send it back with a certificate of eligibility. The attorney puts it on the calendar. The judge actually signs an order. You get expunged. You run yourself on the computer, and you will be removed. So it's a great tool. Everybody that gets arrested, if it's only one and you qualify, I always think it should be done. You never know when you're going to be sitting in an application and that question is going to be asked.
Yeah. So then, all right, and I believe sometimes there's a time frame as well to when the crime happened and when you could get it expunged. So from personal experience, I believe my time frame was 2 years. Like if I waited 2 years to get the documents sealed, if I waited more than 2 years, they said you could not get them sealed.
I'm not too sure about that, so I'm not too sure we have that. But now that you brought in the time frame, I'm going to tell you something else that you can expunge. Mm-hmm. To qualify for an expungement, what has to happen? Case has to be dismissed, acquittal, or the state take no action. But there's one more that I forgot. If you had a case sealed and it's been more than 10 years, you can now reapply to get it expunged.
Oh, okay. Yeah, which is better.
Because now they know that it's been 10 years. You had a withhold 10 years ago.
Right.
You never committed a crime again. So they give you sort of a free ticket.
Yeah. Which is much better in case an employer runs a background check, because now if you have it expunged, your name would no longer be there.
Absolutely.
Okay. And anything else for the viewers?
That's it. You guys heard the phone? That was an expungement call coming in. Actually, it wasn't, but I don't want to remove the video and redo it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're going to be doing many, many more videos. 2021 is going to be a great Let's Talk Crimes with Frank year. Have a good one.
What you gonna do when they come for you, bad boys, bad boys? you gonna do? What you gonna do?